This podcast episode contains material of highly sensitive nature, including suicide ideation and intent, that may be triggering for some individuals. Please take care when listening. Welcome, Steve Calis, to the Love After Lullabies podcast. Returning from season 1, episode 6, we heard about your love story and how amazing it was, and we're so lucky to have some of your precious time because you have a very busy podcast show yourself, Steve Calis podcast. And we're here to talk about maybe some vulnerable things. I'll talk about a little bit of my story here for health and wellness, and I follow you closely on Instagram and all your media posts, and I saw that you were maybe going through some of the same struggles I might have been going through, so I wanted to get you on the show and hear from you.
Yeah, let's get real. Let's be honest about it and talk about it, because I've faced a number of issues and complicated conversations around my decisions here. So it'd be nice to open up about it, both of us, and then we can be clear on why we're doing what we're doing. And be open, be vulnerable. Let's do it. A couple of vulnerable dudes talking vulnerable stuff.
That's right. Well, and it's so interesting too, because and just to clarify for our listeners, you're in the UK, and so it'll be interesting to hear about some of the differences and similarities that we go through here in the United States. And there's just different peoples, and you can call it, like, whether it's fat shaming or systemic processes that this are trying to catch up in the times. And so, like you said, let's set it straight and why we're doing it. And so,
yeah, let's get to it.
That's right. Okay. Tell us a little bit about just kind of your journey leading up to today, current day, as far as like health and wellness. I mean, if you're willing to share whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Yes, of course. Well, my health and wellness journey is that I'm not very healthy and I'm not very well. So I had to, I've deliberately taken steps to sort that out. So the ball started rolling when I started counseling or therapy for the first time.
Nice.
The first proper time really giving it a go, really giving myself over to the process. And that's been revelatory, because things I was always very ashamed about are illnesses or are things that are wrong. I'm not just mad. I'm not just weird. I have things that are wrong with me. And we're now working on the ADHD and OCD diagnosis. In the UK, it takes a long time to get a diagnosis and do anything because the waiting list is so vast. But that's been great. The counselor, the therapist that I was talking to, that's what she wants to treat me for. And that's what we're working alongside, OCD and ADHD, both of which make a great deal of sense. Now, the reason I tell you that is because embroiled in that messy soup of mental illness, there is lumped in with it issues I have with shame eating and binge eating and impulse control, which is all part of the OCD. And that impulse control has been a villain, for many reasons and in many incarnations throughout my life. Drugs, drink, whatever it might be. I like to really throw myself in with 2 feet with whatever I take on and do. Eating is as much of a problem for me as drugs ever were, or binge drinking, because I can't stop. I don't like eating in front of people, or even in front of my family, so I hide in the kitchen, just binge eat, rub salt, sugar, just awful things. I've done that my entire life. So I guess I had the epiphany of, whilst I'm working on my brain, let's also now work on my body. So I've been dieting on and off most of my adult life. I've tried extreme diets like fasting and carnivore, and I always come back to the sugar, and I'm never disciplined enough to stay with it because my attention span's dreadful. So when I saw and learned about Mounjaro, Wegovy, those are the weight loss jabs, that was it was a divine intervention. It's like they could have marketed it just to me. It was perfect. So we've gone with Wegovy, which is less extreme than the Mounjaro. I think Mounjaro and Ozempic are very much of a similar thing, I think, but whereas Wegovy is a little bit more gentle.
The Mounjaro and Ozempic are for diabetes, pre-diabetes, diabetes 2, and then Zepbound and Wegovy are for the weight loss, obesity.
That makes sense, because the other two, when looking into Mounjaro, I could see that it's an extreme weight loss very quickly.
Yeah.
And or much more extreme than the Wegovy. I didn't want that. I didn't want to be I wanted a little bit more control over it. And Wegovy is less dramatic but and over a little bit of a longer period of time. So that's the one we decided to go with. So I got on that, and the results were immediate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like falling off me as I was walking around. I think I lost 11 pounds in just over 2 weeks, which is, a few pounds off of a stone. I'm suddenly subconscious of American versus English metrics. Does that make sense?
No, I'm ready for you. I got stones. I got 2.2 pounds per kilogram. I got you. Yeah.
Did you know that nearly 70% of couples struggle in their relationship after having a baby? But it doesn't have to be that way. Through my coaching programs and mini courses, I'll help you and your partner strengthen communication, rebuild intimacy, and feel confident tackling challenges together as they arise. You've spent so much time preparing for baby. Now it's time to prepare your relationship. From private coaching, programs, and digital courses, I've got you covered. Visit www.loveafterlullabies or check the link in the show notes to join us today.
Okay, that's amazing news to hear. I mean, it's one of those things where people look at alcoholism as a disease, and people need to start looking at the eating and food disorders as a disease as well, because it's very much in the same part of your brain. You're talking about binge eating and hiding from family to eat and get that fix, right? It's very much the same as alcoholism. And so I've also heard that Wegovy is the best one of those GLP-1 medications for compulsions like that. So it might actually help with the ADHD as well.
Yes, I'm smoking less. And I didn't even want that. I enjoy smoking. I don't.
Yeah.
That was an unintended side effect. But yeah, it's just I feel more in control. It's quieter in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, without the constant noise of eat something. Oh, why did you eat that? You're such a fat idiot. Why did you eat? The constant criticism of myself and the constant convincing of myself to eat something. The battle before food of no, I shouldn't really eat that. Come on, have some self-control. Oh, no, it'll be all right. It's only one thing, and then you have it. Then a couple hours of guilt and remorse, and the cycle starts over and over and over again. That's been totally eliminated, which is nice. In fact, I found myself having to remind myself to eat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the peace of mind has been something I've never experienced before. I've recorded a couple episodes, season 3, episodes 23 and 24, about my weight loss and health and wellness journey. And I've been on Zepbound for, Zepbound in March, I'll be on it for 2 years, and lost 75 pounds. And so, yeah, but again, part of that is like you said, making sure your mental health is where it needs to be, being in the gym, making sure you're preserving that muscle, because that's body mass is what you're trying to lose, not weight, not muscle mass per se.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, the peace of mind that comes from using food either as a crutch or just like consuming it when you're not hungry for whatever reason it may be, whether you're working or you're bored, or like for me, I've come to realize after being on this kind of medication was that I used food as like a coping mechanism. So stress with family, political stress, my family doesn't see eye to eye with some of my wife's and I's beliefs on just basic human rights, right?
Boy.
And so it's and being what the United States is going through with our leadership here is it puts a lot of strain on people. And so, but I would use food and alcohol to like stuff in those holes and crevasses, right? And so being on this kind of GLP-1 medication really is helping me focus in on like, okay, what is best for me and not just letting my body take over.
Yeah, that's good. And it makes you feel, and then it sort of snowballs a little bit because now I'm feeling lighter. So I'm less stuffed with sugar and salt, so I'm not crashing so much, so I'm waking up easier, so I'm going to the gym for longer periods, and everything's improved, and I'm happier, I'm less sort of stressed. It's staggering. It's unreal. I should have done this years ago, but now I'm working on my brain and body at the same time, so I'm feeling amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, it's really good.
I love that you brought up therapy. This is the first thing that you brought up, and obviously Miranda's mental health therapist, but I mean, you're right, that's step one, because whatever happens in the future, whether you're on the medication or not, up top is where it really belongs, really helps.
Yeah. Although one of my co-hosts said, "Don't get too mentally healthy because because the podcast depends on your madness." I thought, yeah, that's true to a degree. Yeah. I'll try and keep the good and eliminate the bad.
I think the madness is well baked in.
Yeah, I think so.
That's not going anywhere. It's being able to control the madness.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, like, it's the quiet stuff then, because the OCD is the ADHD is there's positives to that,
Mm.
which I'm so grateful for. You know, my ability to hyper focus on things that I actually am interested in means that I could eventually get very good at those things because I can obsess over them, and it makes me sort of spontaneous. There's a lot of good things that come with ADHD. Yeah, the difficult thing is the attention span and the concentration, and that makes relationships hard sometimes because I'm not always here with you in the present. I'm always somewhere else or thinking about something else. And I've never been until 6 years ago, I couldn't hold down a job properly, couldn't concentrate in school. So there is a downside and an upside. But the OCD is all downside. Learning to split the two apart is part of the journey that I'm on at the minute. Because the OCD is there's nothing it's not the compulsively clean OCD. It's the dark thoughts, and it's the violent compulsions when I was younger, and it's the that's all the sort of stuff that I've had to contend with. I learned myself techniques how to deal with it, but now there's a professional, much more there's quicker routes to get to healing and get to managing it, which I'm learning through counseling. So that's where I'm at.
That's amazing. And probably going back to the season 1 episode that you were on with us, you talk a lot about some mental health situations you went through, and this is just part of your healing journey. It's amazing to hear
these sort of difficulties too. And I suppose that one thing I've always struggled with is empathy for my younger self. I've always been like, why couldn't he just concentrate? Why couldn't he just concentrate in school? Why did he have to get into all those fights? Why did he have to drink and do so much drugs? Why did he have to do this and this and this and this? But I've got a little bit more empathy for my younger self now, because I go, wow, he was really dealing with real world stuff and stuff in his brain. I was making it impossible for him he needed much better guidance and leadership as a young man than he got. And, I was self-aware as a kid, but not nearly self-aware enough to navigate, having ADHD and OCD and not knowing about it. So now I can approach my younger self with a bit more love I'm a father, so I can now look at my younger self and go, okay, I get it. I get what was happening there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, going back to what you had talked about a little bit earlier, and I wanted to touch base on it a little more, if you don't mind. You said that it takes a long time over there to get a diagnosis and treatment for whatever it may be. I'd love to hear more about, I would assume in universal health care, it takes a long time if it's not an urgent need. Or walk us through, how long did it take you to get hooked up with taking Wegovy and also, just the medical industry over there?
Well, so the Wegovy thing was quick, because I assume that's because they've got specialist centers or nurses, or the process is very, very quick. But the difficult thing is being diagnosed, or if you have any mental health. This is we're a brilliant country in a lot of ways, but the mental health care in this country is dreadful. It's dire. We've got a real problem with suicide amongst men. We've got a real problem with general happiness and contentment, a lot of mental health problems, and there's nowhere to go for it. But not because, there's brilliant counselors and there's brilliant nurses, but they're just overwhelmed by the staggering amount of people that need help. And you can say maybe a similar thing where you can say there's probably socioeconomic pressures that are, it's no coincidence that we're, as a society, we're struggling at the minute because there's lots of civil turmoil. But just in general, there's a lot of mental health issues. Now, so I'm on the list now to get my ADHD and OCD type diagnosis. That'll take 2 years, right?
Wow.
Yeah, 2 years. And that's at minimum. It could take longer than that, they reckon. But anyway, so I remember before I met Misha, and I've told you so many stories before, but I was a very unwell man before I met Misha. I was very depressed. I was on a lot of drugs, and I was just not very well. And I remember I had a real suicide attempt where I was certain this is it. I'm going to kill myself today. And then I did it. And then my stepmom discovered me, and then I was rushed into the hospital and all this sort of stuff, right? And then even then, you think that is a sudden, wow, this guy's needs immediate help.
Right.
But it doesn't work like that. It's still months and months of waiting for care. I remember ringing the NHS once. I remember ringing the doctor and saying, listen, I'm in dire straits. I need help. I'm getting ahead of it for the first time. I'm very depressed. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, well, do you know what? We can get you in for an appointment. It will be anywhere up to 6 weeks. I was like, well, you know what? I'll be dead or better by then, but I appreciate it. Right. So it's very, very poor, but because it's such a strain on the NHS over here.
Right.
So, yeah, that's the situation at the moment.
That's so interesting. And now you can correct me if I'm wrong. So you can go through that, but can you also pay like privately? Like if you have the money, right? You get You can get quicker service, but that's
Yeah,
probably
that's
pretty
right. You can
expensive.
go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can go private. Now we've got private healthcare through my job now, so I need to look into seeing if I. But then the problem is it is very expensive.
Yeah.
So, and if you've got holidays booked, then you need to reprioritize and make sure that you get there. So maybe that's a conversation I need to have with my fiance. But I mean, it's not like the only reason I was relatively content to wait the 2 years is because I know, like, my counselor knows, she's a specialist in these areas. She knows, I know, so we can work through that. And in the meantime, I can wait the couple of years. But if you want to move along quicker, you would have to pay a lot of money for it. And there is a lot of, because that's where there's a lot of private clinics, because that's where the money is for the doctors.
Right.
I mean, there's no money for them working in NHS hospitals.
Now that you go through the national, what is it, NIH?
National Health Service.
Okay, NHS. You're going through them. Was it your primary care physician that has you on Wegovy, or is it your mental health therapist?
So we've gone through this is where it's different. We've gone through a private nurse who's friends with my fiance. So she's registered and she can distribute it. And we're lucky we're just lucky that we have a contact who was able to, we still had to go through the process of sending the pictures, getting our BMI and all that sort of stuff. But she was able to get it to us relatively quick. And like I said, I think you can, I'm fairly certain my friend said you can just go online. It's like an online pharmacist, and then you can send pictures to whoever that is, and then you can get it done that way. So when it comes to immediately injecting yourself for something, you can get it lightning fast. But when it comes to your all-around mental health, that's a much longer journey.
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard a lot of different podcasts and heard from a couple of people in the UK that it's very similar to that. And it sounds like the process for GLP-1 medication has gotten quicker, because before it was sounded like it was a longer process. Is it what's the cost per month for you to be on Wegovy there?
So Wegovy, we pay, I think it's roughly about, it's 150 quid, 150 pounds a month. But that doesn't change. So that stays. So even when you up your dose, it will stay at the same price, which I thought was pretty reasonable. And we've saved that in KFC and McDonald's and takeaways. So it's worth it.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's incredibly expensive in the United States, and you've heard about the, what is it, best price country that Trump is trying to throw out there and raising prices in the UK to help compromise prices here. But in reality, it's just going to raise the prices everywhere. Oh,
That's right. But yeah, I mean, Manjaro is a good example of that. I mean, most people have switched to Wegovy now because they've been totally priced out of Manjaro because the prices spiked so much. In a minute, let me get into podcast mode and probe you about your journey.
Sure.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's start right at the beginning. Take me to the beginning. What prompted you? What was this situation around you wanting to get on there in the first place? Was it just because you had problems with eating, or was it a mixed bag of issues?
Yeah, that's a good question. I, just like you, struggled my weight all through my childhood, adolescent years, all the way into adulthood, and went on every diet that you could think of, just like you, whether Atkins diet when I was a kid, and carnivore, and tried to do like a paleo for a while and all the things, right? And just yo-yoed on and off. And actually, I didn't start on Zepbound right away. I've worked very closely with my primary care physician for years and years, for a decade. And her and I had gotten really close and really communicate really well. And she just happened to be like the leading obesity expert in the clinic that I'm at. And so we have been working very hard on just eating well, and I've always worked out. I've always loved my time in the gym. It's always been a part of me since I played football in junior high, right? It's just always been a part of me. And we just watched my blood levels, every physical I'd have every year, just get worse and worse and worse. Cholesterol, I was diagnosed with fatty liver disease. Blood sugar was still okay. I wasn't pre-diabetic, but it wasn't going in the right direction, and I've never been that person that drinks like 2-liter bottles of Coca-Cola, and, I've never been that binge eater or like the eating a lot, but like I come to discover, I would use alcohol and food to, help my emotional status. Right. So in January of 2023, was my rock bottom, where I went on a business trip and I came back, and I had just been diagnosed officially with fatty liver disease, and my liver enzymes were all over the place and not doing well. And I went to a work trip across the nation. And when I got back, I felt so terrible. Like my body was run down. My mental health was terrible. I was worried to talk to Miranda about it because of the cost. At that time, 2 years ago, the cost of the medication was $1,000 a month. And so, I mean, that's pretty much a mortgage payment, right? And so, but I'm like, I didn't know what else to do because I've tried everything and I really didn't know. I didn't know where to go. So I made an appointment with my doctor and I just laid it all on the table for her and just was like, listen, I need help. Like I can't do this by myself anymore. If I let it keep going the way it is, I'm going to die early. I'm going to get cancer like my dad got and just, diabetes and everything. So that was a kind of an emotional breakdown. I remember like crying in front of Miranda in our kitchen when the kids were out at our neighbor's house and just like laying it all. I mean, I never had talked to her about it before. And it's always just been kind of like stuffed deep down. And so my doctor started me on phentermine, which is it's basically an upper. It's like it's a stimulant. It's very, very close to Adderall. It's like a low dose of Adderall essentially. And that helped for 90 days or so. And then it just didn't work. And so that's kind of when I went to her and like, listen, I went to Miranda and I just broke down like crying, like I will take on a second job. Like I'll go back and I'll work at Wendy's or, I'll go do whatever it takes, DoorDash, whatever it takes to earn more money for this medication because I just don't see any other way out. And she just was incredibly supportive and was like, no, we'll make it work. We'll budget better and we'll cut things out if we need to. And so, yeah. So I went back to my doctor and said, I'm ready to start Zepbound. And I didn't, like you said, the Wegovy is a little bit of a lesser medication, not as intense. But the way my weight was and the way my like fatty liver disease was progressing, we had to kind of like throw the kitchen sink at it. And so, yeah, all of my blood levels are normal, if not optimal. I feel great, got energy. It's just been a life changer.
Wow, man. Well, first then, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. And because you know what, because the conversation around it can be controversial, what you don't get is your flowers for getting from A to B. Initially having the crash out and going, okay, we've got to do it now. We waited this long. I need help. We need to do it now. And you did it. You got help. Brilliant. Well done, mate. That's excellent. And then sticking to it. And then not just being on the medication, but then you've got to actually make the lifestyle changes. You've still got to eat well. You've got to go to the gym still. And you've still got to take care of your mental health in a lot of other ways and maintain your relationships. And look at you, man. You've done that shit. That is hard.
Yeah.
And you have done that for how long have you said? Did you say a couple of years?
Yeah. March will be 2 years.
Fucking A. Okay, well done, mate. That's really brilliant. Well done.
I appreciate you. Thank you. It's, and I made a commitment to Miranda that, I'm not gonna be frivolous with it. It's a gift, right? And with the cost the way it is. And now, so right now I currently pay, it's $500 a month. So it has gone down. So it's manageable, but still really expensive. It's still $6,000 a year. That's heavy, but so I made a commitment to myself of really trying to lock in on why I ate the way I did, knowing that the medication is helping the genetic and metabolic disease that I have, but also now it's my turn to concentrate on my health and wellness and optimization and what I can do, what I can manage myself that I'm responsible for, and then let the medication deal with the metabolic disease that I have.
God damn it, I'm inspired.
Yeah.
I want to go to the gym right now. That's motivational, man. That's really inspirational. That's brilliant. That's nice for me to see down the line as well. Because I've only been on it for, I've only been on it for nearly a month, just over 3 weeks, whatever it is. So I'm looking, and it's, with good results. I'm feeling much better. So there's a version of myself that I'm trying to carve out of flab, and it's in there. I mean, I can see it. And it's very nice to see you way down the line having achieved it and done it, and you are where you want to be. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
That's great. And so, that's what I mean. That's why it's a shame that there's a cloud sometimes, depending on who you speak to about it.
Yes. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So there's a clip on the episode where I reveal it to my co-hosts.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that I said, "Oh, listen, guys, I'm now on the weight loss jab," and my co-host Kevin immediately started going, "Cheater! You're a cheat! You're a cheat!"
Immediately.
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah.
Like he had it lined up, ready to go.
And I'm over in the corner watching it like, no, that's not right. He's not cheating. Yeah.
Well, I managed to talk him round in the end because Kev actually, he's got similar issues to us. He wants to try and do it through a route which he knows it's important to him to feel disciplined, and he wants to be able to do it himself. He's not as addicted to sugar. He doesn't binge eat. He doesn't, but he does have he does have eating issues. He's heavier than he wants to be, but he's gone down a different road. But I managed to talk him around and say, listen, I've still got to do everything. I've still got to eat the right stuff. Otherwise, nutritionally, you become exhausted and weak, and you're not doing your body any favors. You still got to go to the gym and then eat enough protein and eat well enough that it's worthwhile going to the gym. And so I managed to talk him around in the end. But that is the reaction that you get sometimes.
Well, and it makes me think about part of the journey I talked about in prior episodes was when I was in my 20s, I lost a considerable amount of weight by eating, like tracking all of my calories, but also destroying myself in the gym. And it was like the Biggest Loser time frame, right? Where like I was spending 1 to 3 hours a day in the gym 6 days a week. And then one day that I had off, I was like going on hikes and frisbee golf and golfing, all the things, right? And even doing so, the moment I would let off, like if I wasn't working out 6 days a week, if I traveled home to see my family or whatever it is, I'd instantly start gaining that weight back. And so you can see that it's a metabolic disease that I was dealing with. But that was in my 20s too. The older you get, now that I'm in my mid 40s, my body didn't respond to that type of workout anymore. I mean, I'd get home, I'd try to like 4 or 5 days a week that way, and I'd just be destroyed and with no results. And so now I could hit the gym 3 times a week for maybe an hour, if not less, 40 minutes of weight training and some light cardio. And I get results. I get gains.
Yeah, that's it. And also, did you say mid-40s?
Mid-40s, yeah.
See, the Lord may have cursed you in some ways with eating and brain, but he's blessed you with the skin of a 25-year-old man. So
thank you.
That's really surprising. I look like I could be your father. You aged so well.
Get out of here.
Yeah, but I totally understand that. That's and the gym has become like to me, it's become like a bit of a joy.
Mm-hmm.
I find if I go to the gym before work, I'm set up. I've got my brain's more alert, quicker. I'm feeling stronger, more confident. So, like I said, it's all snowballing in a positive way.
Yeah.
Now, it's not to say there isn't obstacles to still overcome, because every now and then, especially towards the end of the week, you have to take it every Tuesday. So I find the weekend's difficult because we're not being as active as we could otherwise be, because the weather's just started to turn here and it's dreadful. So we're sat around a lot, and with that comes temptation, and there's a whole kitchen there. So I've had to get extreme and say, listen, I know I'm so told my family live here. I'm really sorry, but we're going to have to throw out everything good to eat in this house right now. Yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of the chocolate and crisps just for a little while, so I've got a little bit more self-control, because I do struggle. I will struggle there. So yeah, there's still journeys, and there's days where I don't feel hungry at all, and then there's days where I wonder if the jabs even work in that day, and those days are hard because then suddenly I'm relying on my own self-control. So I don't know. So it's a journey, but man, I feel better. I feel me. I've got access to my own personality again, because it's not clouded and being buried by sugar addiction and craving salt and crap and chocolate all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
2 years ago when I started, I didn't tell anybody except for Miranda for almost a year, or less. And it was like 7-8 months. I just, because I felt so guilty that I was cheating, that I. And I think it's gotten a little bit better now with the stigma around it, but that this was just a fad, and you hear about the Ozempic with the movie stars and all the things, and some things that really got me through it were some support groups on Reddit. There's some Reddit sites are really poorly monitored, and it's just a bunch of bros bashing people. But the Wegovy and Zepbound and Mounjaro Reddit sites are really well monitored and really positive. Something to look into. There's a podcast called On the Pen with David Knapp. He's the first like patient-centric version of the news around weight loss drugs. Ethan Suplee, he's a movie star that has his own podcast. He lost like 400 pounds or something crazy, not on GLP-1 medicine, but really inspirational on like how to manage mental health and food noise, essentially. So those things kind of boosted me up a little bit to then when people started noticing, because I'm 75 pounds less of a person. And I mean, I tell you, I don't know if you've gotten this yet, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because you've only been on it for a little over a month, but you will get comments, and they're comments that sometimes I didn't know how to deal with. And
really,
people saying the weirdest shit to me that I'll give you an example. The other day, someone said to me, hey, did you enjoy your vacation in Hawaii that you went to over the summer? And I said, absolutely. It was so fun with the family, and we had a great time. It was our first like destination family trip, and we had just such a blast. And out of his mouth, I'm sure you had a blast showing off your new figure. And I'm like, my new figure. And like, it took me a second, like, what the hell is he talking about? And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Cause you still see me as the very obese, overweight, unhealthy guy. And now you're just visually making an observation that you think I should be out there with my banana hammock out on the beach, you know? So
Yeah,
it's
well,
wild.
I very much look forward to those.
Yeah, I'll send you
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that'd be great. Thanks. I've already got them. I've been following you for 6 months. I've got, yeah, because my difference, I see, because it's nearly a stone that I've lost, and it had to have gone from somewhere. But it's not gone from the key area yet, which is the stomach, but it's gone from my face. My face is much more, I could see my jawline nearly, and I could see the difference there. So that's actually really nice, because I spend a lot of time with a camera pointed at my own face. So that's why it was so easy to spot the difference, because I was editing a show recorded 3 weeks prior, and then I could see, oh, actually, blimey, I couldn't see a little bit more sort of structure there, which is really nice. Yeah, and so I decided, I don't know why I like doing this, but the minute I took it, I thought, no, I'm going to tell everybody. I'm going to tell people in conversation. I'm just going to get it out there, right? And I don't know why I like doing that. I think because part of me, I'm a chaos agent. I mean, I like to disrupt the script, and I like to see people's reactions if you go off script, especially in the office. So I get because of my ADHD, probably now thinking about it, I struggle with, scripted conversations, the normal conversations that everybody has. So what I like to do every now and then is throw in a curveball and disrupt things. And so I like to do that by, I like to just randomly, I'm talking to someone casually, and I go, oh, right, yeah, well, that's a nice way to spend a Saturday. I'm on a weight loss drug and I've lost 10 pounds. And I like to just throw it in there. And then because I like to see, because what they think of it is straight away written on their face. Like, oh, that's interesting. We'll learn some more. Or there's one lady at work who's a sort of fitness fanatic. At work, she'll take her lunch break. She'll go running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Lunatic.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. When I told her, there was a micro expression of disgust even. Right. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's really cool. That is, I guess I understand why she would think that I'm taking a sort of easy way out. So I just like it. I like people's reactions. I like talking to Pat. I even liked Kevin's reaction.
And I did love your co-host's reactions to it. And you're right, they did come around in the end. And you know what? I think that probably sparked some curiosity from, say his name is Kevin. It probably sparked some curiosity that he'll probably circle back around at some point and be interested in it.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've got my money on it. I mean, that man's brain works like mine, right? And I know him very, very well. I know that now I've sowed the seed, right? I've already had he's already said that his fiance is interested after listening to the episode. It's only a matter of time. There's dominoes have fallen. It's only a matter of time. So, and it'll be good for him as well. So it'll be, yeah. So, but like I said, I'm doing it for me, for my son. I'm more energetic at the minute. I mean, some chunk of it may well be just the placebo, or just knowing that you're trying to make a difference has energized me a little bit. Yeah. And but either way, it's effective and it's working.
When I first started taking it, Miranda and I had some learning to do together. I'm curious if Misha has seen any differences. When I started taking it, my way of looking at food, before, Miranda and I did the same things. We ate the same things. We drank the same amount. We did all the things together. And then like, when you start taking this, changes happen almost immediately, and you start looking at food differently. And so I started making some changes, and Miranda was still where she was. And it's some growing that we had to do together. And I would say some stupid shit. And I didn't mean it to be mean, of like, oh, do you want to finish this food? Then I'm done eating. And then she's like, well, what am I, like a dumpster? Like, and I didn't even think of that. Right. But then looking back on it, when she called me on it, it's like, yeah, what the hell was why? And so it took us several months to kind of like find a new normal. Have you encountered any of that yet?
Well, I suppose because we would eat at different times anyway, because we got different work schedules. I mean, we're sort of ships in the night a lot of the time, so most of our eating is done apart. Now, we started having dinner together because my hours much better now. I've got a better job, so we can have our evening meal together. So but I've always just eaten different to Misha because I've got a very simple palate. I'm not very good with food. I'm still learning to enjoy food properly. Food's always been, a burden or a villain. So like I'm eating very simple things. She's cooking herself nice meals that I should be eating, but I refuse to eat. So we've never been totally simpatico when it comes to food anyway. But I think our relationship in general is better because I'm just more energetic. I'm not crashing 6 times a day because I've had a mountain of sugar. So my mood is much more consistent. Do you know one thing that I've always loathed about myself is if Misha was to say, well, let's go out for the day with Leo, I'd have to do like an internal MOT or an internal check on myself to go, can I sustain a good mood for 8 hours? I mean, I can't because I'm just going to be fluctuating. I'm probably going to need some caffeine or sugar. I might even need a cigarette by midday. And I really hated that about myself because I can do maybe 3 solid hours of good mood. And then I'll need a nap or, my moods. I've never been in control of my own moods. Never in a way that is, uncomfortable or aggressive, but just I'm either up or I'm sort of down or relatively neutral, a little bit down. So, but now with this, my mood's so much better. I can hold a good mood for so much longer. So it's beneficial. It's paying off for everybody around me, people I work with, people I'm friends with, my family. So I just hope that continues to be the case.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a blood sugar thing, possibly. Like
Probably. I've always just put it down to just perpetual sugar crashing.
Yeah.
I'm down, I'm up, down, I'm up, down, I'm up. So my sleep used to be so bad, I imagine. So I eat sugar before bed and I'm spiking. So I'm a bit more alert or energized. I wasn't trying to sleep, so I wake up tired still. So I guess I too think that's what I think is the case. But yeah, work that's much better now, and that's actually a bigger relief than the weight loss to me because that means that I don't have to be so self-conscious when we go on family days out because I don't want to ruin the day by suddenly being grumpy for no reason. I don't want to ruin the day by So that's something I've been very stressed by and upset about previously that I'm now sort of much more in control of.
So interesting. Yeah, that'll be great to check in with you in a few months and see how that's going because I would imagine that's going to be a game changer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I can feel it already. I mean, I just feel just control. I don't even know if it is the jab doing that or just knowing that I'm on the path I want to be on. Now.
Yeah.
But I just feel I've got a handle on it. I just feel better.
Yeah. Probably a mix.
Yeah.
In closing, do you have any goals around your health and wellness journey? And also, how do you track your progress? Have you taken pictures for when you're having hard days and knowing that it's not all about the scale? And sometimes you can go back and reference those and say, oh yeah, this is how far I've come.
I have. I would prefer those photos didn't exist.
Correct.
So they do.
Yes.
I do have reference photos before. Yeah, just before we took the jab, I've got some before photos. They're harrowing. Yeah. They are an alarming thing to see and have saved on my phone. But the thing that set it off weirdly was my friend Georgie. She hosts a tattoo festival locally. It's really cool. Music, you can get a tattoo, listen to some tune. It's a brilliant festival. And I hosted the on stage in front of everybody the tattoo judging portion of the festival, and the pictures from that I couldn't sleep. I was like, is that me? That's my body. How did I used to play rugby in school. I used to be strong and I used to be never really properly in shape because for rugby, you don't have to be 6-packed up. You have to be big and I was big and I liked my build. And when I was traveling around Europe, I got sort of slender and I even liked that build. And then to see this grotesque form on the stage and that is me. And I was wearing like a baggy hoodie to try and hide my gut, but it didn't really work. I just looked dreadful. So that was literally the next day after that. I thought, right, let's start things in motion. That's when I got the gym membership back up. That's when I started to eat a little bit better. And then it was it was a few months after that, we finally decided to get on the jab because the stuff wasn't working. But yeah, so my goal is June next year. That's the next tattoo festival.
Okay.
I'll be hosting the tattoo judging portion of the show again, and I will be in shape for that, or in at least much better physical condition. Because I've never wanted to, it was awful. And there's been loads of pictures like that, but I immediately delete them from my mind. Oh, that's horrible. Delete, don't think about that anymore. But this one really stuck with me. I look like just like a fatter, older version of my own father.
Yeah. I
Jesus
know exactly
Christ.
what you're talking about. That when I was talking about that work trip that I went on, that I just felt like hell. Those are my before pictures. I have those saved in my phone. Like I said, I look like an old fat version and swollen,
Yeah.
just that my eyes are squinty because I had so much fat, like covering them down. Wild.
Oh, mate, I was pale, blotchy. My skin's terrible. My posture's fucking awful. I was like, God, how did I let that happen?
Yeah,
How did I let that?
because up
Yeah.
here in your mind, you didn't look like that.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah, exactly that. And I was on my own show recently. I was joking about having my reality filter is very good. I mean, I can pretend things are however I want them to be, and that's really come back to bite me in the ass when it comes to my own physique and physical well-being. So now I'm seeing myself, the reality of the situation, and I need to be able to make the change.
Yeah. Wow. It's everything you're saying is so inspirational, and I think it's people listening to this are going to second think about it and consider where they are right now in their life. I know when I first talked about it on our show, I had a couple friends reach out to me, and one of them sent me just this, like, it started making me tear up and cry about how much it resonated with them, and that they've been thinking about it for a while, and listening to the show gave them the push they needed to get on Zepbound and to get on that GLP-1. And it's, because they were doing all the things as well. And so I hope that people listening to this will also consider, obviously going to a qualified physician to, look at their blood work and make the decision along with your doctor as a type of care, and really put their health and wellness first.
Yes, yeah, do. Especially like with parents. You know what I mean? We've got to be there for our grandchildren one day. So we've got to put the pieces in place now to get there. You know what I mean? So yeah, I totally agree. I'm 100% with you. Hopefully someone listens to this and gets motivated or inspired, and especially by your journey, man. It's incredible. I'm very proud of you. That's incredible. And you stuck with it. That's brilliant.
Thanks, Steve. And hopefully, I know your time is precious because you got a busy podcast and a busy life. Hopefully in the next 6 months to a year, maybe before the Tattoo Fest, we can check in again. And
yes,
yeah,
100%. Yeah, we will. I'd like that. I think I'll set that as another one of my goals, so that we can by the time I talk to you next, I want to have lost a certain amount of weight, and I'll message you and let you know what that plan is. But I'd appreciate that. That'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. Well, again,
thanks for having me again. And I got to have you and you and Miranda. I've been on your show twice. I have to have you on my show whenever you like.
We would love that. We would love that. We would, anytime you want. Just let us know. Let us know when it fits well with your guys' schedule.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, bro.
Thank you. And that brings us to the end of today's podcast episode. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Before we go, we want to take a minute and express our deepest gratitude to all of our incredible guests and listeners. Thank you for being part of our podcast family and sharing your stories with us. If you found value in today's episode, please consider supporting us by subscribing to the podcast so you never miss a new episode. Please leave us a review. Your reviews are like love notes to our podcasting hearts. All of our guests are here voluntarily and not a current or former client of Miranda. If you'd like to be a guest, we'd love to have you. Please reach out to us via email, loveafterlullabies@gmail.com, or DM us on Instagram, and our handle is @loveafterlullabies. While you're there, click on that follow button so you can get all the latest updates and behind the scenes content, and your hanging chair updates. See you next time.
So she got burgers in her ears.